Welcome back. You're watching Make in India, New Deal for Defence. I'm Shireen Bhan, and today we're looking at the capabilities of Bengaluru-based Alpha Design Technologies. The foray of Alpha into the aerospace segment began when it acquired TOCOL in 2009. Today, this capability allows the company to undertake sub-assemblies of multi-role fighter jets like Sukhoi Su-30.
I am at Alpha TOCOL manufacturing facility in Bengaluru, which is a subsidiary of Alpha Design Technologies. TOCOL was acquired by Alpha in 2009, and this facility supplies critical aircraft structural assemblies to HAL.
Alpha's aviation business goes beyond imaging systems. It also manufactures major structural assemblies for fighter aircraft, trainer aircraft, UAVs and even space programs.
I am at the Sukhoi Su-30 assembly unit. Alpha TOCOL has so far supplied 150 units for Su-30, which will be used by the Indian Air Force.
These components range from rudders to flaperons to engine mounts to undercarriage doors. In the helicopter business segment, it manufactures critical cabin frames for the Sikorsky S-92 helicopters and even exports special toolings for Sikorsky USA. Its latest order in this vein comes from HAL for 120 sets of door assembly for the Airbus A320 aircraft. Its expertise and vast experience in this area has helped its subsidiary of ATT grow at over 500% over the last 5 years. It is looking for more private contracts and orders because having the government as its biggest client is not without its own unique challenges.
It's a tough job to do any job, any work with Army and Air Force in the sense. Firstly, it is time period is long. The gestation period is very long. Unlike in the private sector, let's say Infosys or Wipro and all that, where they have a quick buck available over there. You just have to make that, have an order and then perform it. So within the 6 months to 1 year period of time, you have the money. Whereas here, it goes through a very, very long series of trials, evaluations, and then sometimes even RFPs getting out and being cancelled, one more RFP coming in, that's the request for proposal. So the time period is very long. So one has to have a lot of patience, perseverance, persistence, and of course, so that is the tough portion of it. And of course, the decision making, the process being long, decision making also is longer. So I think that is one of the areas where probably the improvement could be done in the decision-making process. We have been at it. We have been bringing out these points to the MOD and the Army, Navy, Air Force and all that. Ourselves, as also as part of various organizations in which we are active members like FICCI, CII, ASSOCHAM and all that. And I think that is making some impact now.
Its interest in more private sector clients has meant that exports has become a major revenue driver. Today, nearly 50% of its revenues come from exports.
This is a thermal imaging sighting kit used in a BMP-2 tank to help gunners fire accurately in the night. This is one of the many systems the company exports. So far, it has exported 780 of the total 969 units it manufactured.
Exporting is related mostly with respect to the fire control systems and thermal sights. See, the thermal sights are those which so far, even in the Indian Army, other than few tanks of T-90 origin and a few Arjun tanks, did not have these thermal sights which can give the range and the accuracies that were needed for accurate firing, and that to large distances during night, approximately 3 kilometers. So since we are doing it here, we repackage this, upgrade it, and then now through this company which we have signed the agreement with, we export it to other countries.
ADT is certain that the Modi government's Make in India drive will open the doors to much faster growth, especially in the field of defense manufacturing. But it is adamant that without more R&D, survival in a sector that is getting more competitive by the day will just not be possible. So, it says it will continue to invest 50% of its revenues in R&D, a move that will not only help increase its order book, but also give it a foothold and a first mover advantage in next frontier ideas in the defense space.
This is a commander's sight used in a BMP-2 tank. This helps commander observe long-distance targets during the night and extreme weather conditions. And this project is a joint development between Alpha and DRDO. And this is one of the 60 R&D projects that Alpha has undertaken.
We have been able to focus on quite a lot of interesting projects which are now coming up. Some are under trials and evaluation. Some are trials evaluation is completed out and waiting for the price negotiations to be done. Some of them price negotiations are done and we are waiting for the contract to be signed. So it is a sort of a stages. As far as our future is concerned, future is our R&D and future is what our colleagues have built up now as expertise with respect to the manufacturing and packaging and testing and activities connected with that. So these two will give us the basic building blocks for future, and the orders for which we are chasing and those which are on the offsets and the exports after this 1,400 crores is concerned, I think we have another about something around 3,000 to 4,000 crores for which we are looking at in future, so that this company becomes the base as far as the private sector defense oriented electronics and avionics facilities are concerned.
The very fact that the company is in a position to not only entertain but also work towards achieving these aspirations says something. After all, what began as a three-man company today employs over 850 highly skilled workers. So far, it has entered into two joint ventures, one in 2005 with Israel's ITL and the second with Italy-based Electronica. Alpha is now working on 2 to 3 more joint ventures and expects them to become a reality in the next 2 to 3 years. But for all that to actually mean something in terms of growth, the company says it is imperative that foreign direct investment in defense become an easier process.
At present also, if in critical technologies, the companies abroad can have more than 50% FDI, they can ask for it. But that has to go through the cabinet's approval and all that. So the time frame may be a bit larger. But I think with the present government over there who take quick decisions, I think that should not come in the way. But I'm sure it can be made as 51%, and maybe it can also go through what is called as the automatic route. At present, for any of the investment even up to 49%, one has to go through what is called as the FIPB, Foreign Investment Promotion Board. They have to sit and take a decision. Whereas maybe that at some time it can be made on the automatic route, like in civil sectors, particularly in railways it is coming in now.
Problems with FDI aside, the company is also facing hurdles when it comes to financing, and here it hopes the authorities will look into corporate guarantees as an acceptable basis for granting loans, especially to smaller companies like itself.
Funding. See, as I told you, the DPSUs get foreign exchange variation clause is there. For me it is not there. Some of the work which I am doing, I have accepted the orders at $1 to 44 rupees. Today it is 64 rupees a dollar. So I have to bear with the loss for 20 rupees a dollar, which is very high for any of the procurement of components. I don't get it. Why? Because I am a private sector industry or a MSME. So we have said at least for MSMEs, give FERV. Second is, for taking an advance, some 15% advance is given when you sign a contract. I have to give a bank guarantee. When you go to the bank, they ask for collaterals. So very many of us in the MSMEs, we don't have collaterals as big lands and things like that and all that, like Tatas or L&T or public sectors and all that. So we have to put in the fixed deposit 100% of the money of that bank guarantee. They give the bank guarantee to take the same 100% as advance. It is foolish. So we have requested that don't ask for bank guarantees, ask from us corporate guarantees.
ADT hopes the government will also make changes to policies like the defense procurement policy, which is due to be released later this year.
Take the case of the projects which have been categorized under a category called as MAKE project. The MAKE project is allocated as per the DPP, present DPP, only for the companies or the consortiums, each one of them who have 1,000 crore rupees as turnover for the past 3 years, every year. and 100 crore rupees as the profit margin. Net worth something like that. Public limited companies and not private limited companies. So what has happened is, this has been now, make projects are just concentrated towards either defense public sectors or very big companies. People like us in the medium scale industries cannot take part for make projects. What is make? Make is something to be developed. The core competency and the technology is not with the major companies, big companies. They have gone out of it. They are only system integrators. The core competency is only with the medium scale industries and the small scale industries. Now they are debarred. They can't take part in the make project. So what we have proposed now is divide this make project into two categories. Call it as make big industries. Let them take, it doesn't matter, because ultimately it is making it in India. Make a separate category, call it as make medium scale industry, MSMEs. Earmark some funds for this, some 500 crore rupees. If it is a pittance as far as the government of India is concerned, disburse it, distribute it, and that will come up much more than anything else. Then the methodology of selection for this is very, very cumbersome.
Tax concessions, it says, will not go unthanked either.
You see, tax is always on the profits. So at present, the profits, if I make some, let's say 10 crore rupees profit, almost 30% goes for tax. That is okay, as I told you, for bigger industries. Again, we have requested for MSMEs, give some concessions, 15%, you make, for MSMEs should pay only 50% of the tax that is there, and hopefully it will be accepted. That is the major problem. Otherwise, the tax-wise, the other things like VAT and excise duty and things like that is common, normal to anybody else and all that. And for defense products which we sell to the our own government, you don't have to pay the excise duty and other VAT and all that. Even if you pay, that will be refunded back. Exports, luckily, there are no such excise duty and VAT and all that.
ADT is confident that should things fall in place, the government's Make in India initiative will help it become a 350 crore rupee company by FY16 with executable contract orders with over $85 million. To get itself future ready, ADT is already working on setting up a 5.2-acre facility in the IT corridor of Whitefield. Once this is complete 2 years down the road, Alpha Defence Technology sees itself becoming the alpha in the domestic defence manufacturing sector.
That was Bengaluru-based Alpha Designs. With nearly 1,400 crore rupees of orders in hand, Alpha Design is betting big on Make in India to take the next big leap. It hopes that the government will iron out all the issues and ensure that the private sector is treated on par with defence PSUs. It's also hoping that the government will allow medium-scale industries to bid for defence contracts based on capabilities and not on revenues. So, hope the government is listening. On that note, it's time for us to wrap up this week's edition of Make in India New Deal for Defence. We'll be back again next week with another story from the Indian defence sector. Till then, from the entire team, goodbye and many thanks for watching.